Magic Millions National Broodmare Sale at the Gold Coast. Proven stakes producers and young mares in foal at the Southern Hemisphere's premier breeding stock auction. A Tissue, Belclair, Climbing Stars and the explosive Zoo Gotcha are among 150 black tie performers catalogued for sale. There's 11 Group 1 winners, 8 straight from the track. The Magic Millions National Broodmare Sale, May 27 and 28. For more, visit magicmillions.com.au.
The gesture was so just Philippe Dyson got him. Greg Sugars has done it again.
Monday, we remember one of harness racing's very best. From 12 noon, you'll hear the funeral service of champion reinsman Greg Sugars as it takes place at Melton. We'll bring you the first hour on RSN, or you can hear the complete service on RSN Extra 2 on digital radio and streaming. We're bidding farewell to a harness hero. Monday from noon on RSN Racing and Sport.
Another best bet. The Battlers found the biggest prize winner at the Bull at $36.
Bristol Chief, she's a home track specialist.
The best bet and a quaddy leg, making it 4 from 4, winning Bull Carnivals. Then on Saturday, another Group 1 tipped at $31 with an SP of $18.
The Battlers constantly deliver. That's why over 80% who trial the Battlers extend long term.
Now we build towards the Winter Queensland Carnival, going for a third consecutive winning Group 1 Carnival. Last year they found Steffi Magnetica at $16 as the best bet in the Stradbroke. Join this week for winter and spring and get 50% off. Get all these tips emailed early for as little as $5 per stake per week.
Stop missing out.
See AussiePuntingBattler.com for this incredible offer.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
The Doorbuster sale at Doors Plus for 4 days only. Save up to 50% this weekend. And we can fit, paint, stain and deliver. Visit a showroom for a free measure and quote. At the 4-day Doorbuster sale ends Monday. Doors Plus.
No fuss.
Okay, it's just gone 2 past midday. Very shortly, the grey areas with Jason and George. But at Geelong, the races are about to get underway. Good afternoon, Adam Olsanski.
Hello, John. Hello, everyone. Good to be at Geelong today. Quite mild conditions at the moment. Not a lot of wind around. The rail is out 6 metres for the entire circuit. Last time we were here, it was out 3 metres. We start on a good 3. My best bet comes up in the last race. Pretty keen on Angel of the Sea, making her return from a break. She looked very good in a couple of recent jump outs, especially her most recent on the 22nd of April, where she was leading and then shaken up and she sprinted away to win by a big space without a great deal of pressure being applied. Her debut was very good. It was at Moe. She got back to the tail of the field, rushed home to run third, and then she was able to be much closer in the run to win here over this track and distance, second up last campaign. But the fact that she's quickly getting to this distance, I think is what's ideal about it. And in a smallish field, she won't be as far back as she was first up or on debut at Moe. So she's the one for me. Angel of the Sea, race 8, horse number 8. And in race number 2, I'm going with Esquel, who's had a couple of race starts last prep. Now, they were St Arnaud and Mount Gambier, but I get the impression that she's improved quite a deal from then. She's had 2 recent jump outs. They've both been successful jump outs at Donald and at Terrain. She looked very good the way she found the line under Linda Meach in her most recent hit out. Linda rides her in race conditions today. She can potentially lead or be a co-leader here. And I thought that Esquel might be a horse that can return from a break as a winner now as an older 3-year-old filly. So race 2, horse number 9, Esquel, the other one I'm recommending today. A quaddie. First leg going 3, 5 and 9. Second leg 3, 4 and 5. The third leg, race 7, it's a little tougher, going 3, 4, 8 and 9, and just the one in the last, that's the 8, Angel of the Sea. A standout in the last, that's $36 for 100%, a little quaddie play today. Good luck. We're kicking off the Geelong meeting at 12:25.
On RSN Racing and Sport, it's time for the grey areas with Jason Adams and George Ferrugia.
The kid was a human dynamo.
Are you sure you're talking about George?
George of the jungle, friend to you and me. Good afternoon. This is Grey Areas on RSN 927, a double dose of greyhound racing every week on your Wednesday and Friday from midday. We always need a dose of Friday, don't we? And we've got the king of the corporate box himself, Georgie Ferrugia, with us as always. Good afternoon to you, my friend.
How are you, mate?
I'm well.
I got to hold this up for you and John. Look at this. Another victory for the
Johnny,
Pies.
What about those Pies last night?
Hey,
you didn't seem that thrilled before talking about it off air, which I was stunned by.
Sent half their team over, left half at home.
Half the team.
Oh, jeez. Unbelievable. Another victory. Just piling on the W's. Too good.
Way too good. Are these critics going too early, John, saying that they're clearly the team to beat? How many times over the years have we seen teams dominant through the mid part of the season and then just not feature?
I'm always loath to make early calls at any, the cliche is week by week, game by game. Not getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, I'm not getting
all of
ahead
those quotes. All of those quotes
either. But when are we reading out the first texts that have come through, Jace? I'm leaving this up to you, considering his kin.
So I'll leave it to you, George. But if you do want to get involved at any stage throughout the show about any topic whatsoever, and particularly the action from last night at Sandown Park, which was amazing, make sure you do so. 0416 90 50 52.
I can't wait to eat into those races. They were absolutely fantastic. Lived up to the billing for sure. But for those that have been listening in the last couple of weeks, we have found out that Jason has adopted a second team, which has been sort of bordering on his first team, to be honest, wearing Collingwood polos. For those that don't know, he's a mad South Melbourne / Sydney Swan supporter. And finally, we've heard from the patriarch himself, Steve Adams, Jason's dad, who has wrote, and I quote verbatim, "If he's wearing an Essendon polo, I'll spew up. I can't take it anymore. He's out of the will. His grandfather would be turning in his grave." Thank you, Steve. Thank you for some voice of reason, finally, from Steve. We have had some messages from greyhound trainers who are mad Collingwood supporters who have said that finally Jason has seen the light, but Steve is holding court here. And we love you, Steve. So thank you for that message. Any response to that,
Well,
Jace?
it's some sort of statement, isn't it? And tell you what, this whole second team thing, we went to the footy last Saturday night, the Collingwood and Geelong game.
How'd you go?
Now, walking out of the grounds, I quickly found out it wasn't the right decision to declare to people around me that Bobby Hill was tripped. It was not the popular opinion with the better half.
I was going to say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how annoyed was the cheese and kisses walking on the concourse of the MCG?
9.8, something like that.
Fantastic. It was a trip. We can say that. That's okay. It was a trip.
His first contact with the body was around his legs.
Yeah, it was a trip. That's okay.
Anyway,
that's not why they lost the game, mate.
We'll move on.
Speaking
of sporting teams.
Greyhounds.
Yeah, as soon as there's a Collingwood, if there's a Collingwood loss mentioned, Johnny wraps it up pretty
Before we
quickly
move on from sport, the Boston Celtics, George, we're going to touch on this. I mean, our friend in George Daly will be all over Boston, and he'll be, what we'll be doing right now, because as you suggested to me off air, they're choking.
Yeah, they have. They've led by 20 in both of their first games and have lost both games in Boston. So now they have to go and do it tough in New York. It's not over yet, but there's a lot of angry Celtics fans floating around at the moment. And don't worry, I have copped it on the text from a few Lakers fans who are out. Obviously, they're no good. So anyway.
All right. Before we move into the dish lickers, as some would say, TV recommendations. Now, you sent out a tweet earlier today putting forward and suggesting that you've got a TV show for me to follow, which I've been very, very lazy with since you've been doing this to me.
I'd like John to watch this too, because I think he'd like it. I think it's right up his alley. It's called Mobland. It's a very good British crime show about the gangs, two gangs that are at war with each other in England. Terrific show. Pierce Brosnan's in it, Helen Mirren, Tom Hardy, really good cast. Terrific TV show.
And if anyone out there needs to sign up to their 5th, 6th, 7th subscription service, where can you watch
Paramount Plus.
Okay.
It's sort of Lock, Stock, Two Smoke and Barrels type. I think Guy Ritchie, who made those films, is involved in this too. It is very, very good. And don't give me the time poor excuse either.
Why?
Because I see how you manicure your lawn. You can. There's some wiggle room there.
Mate, priorities.
There is some wiggle room. All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. Awesome night at Sandown last night. We knew it was going to be, but geez, didn't the sparks fly. There was all sorts of hustle and bustle, George, in those seats of the Sapphire Crown. early on before Gambella returned us to a bit of normality. And then in the Harrison Dawson heats, it was just punch after punch with superstars strutting their stuff. It was
incredible.
An awesome night for the purists to sit back on the couch and enjoy, wasn't it?
It was. And I want to, there's a couple of greyhounds we're going to highlight, but Mapunga Reward, a special shout out to him to run. I don't think I'm surprised at the time because obviously knowing the camp a little bit, knowing Barry and knowing Angela and Jeff, they've always rated this greyhound so highly. But for him to come out and run 29.05 after a fractured hock, he missed 7 months of racing, this greyhound, Jason. I don't think a greyhound's gone quicker after such an injury. And there are hock injuries and there are hock injuries. He seems to have obviously have come back really well from it, but there's always problems that can arise from that arthritically, I think the actual area is as strong as it can be, but
So for those out there thinking a hock, what are you talking about? It's basically the main part of their rear leg, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, it's where they get their drive, really, I suppose. And for him to do that and still come back and run this, it's amazing. Barry Smith, I think you know Barry too. He's a guy that I've never met someone more straight-laced and is a guy that just tells you how it is. He's so keen to use this dog as a stud dog. That's how highly they rate him. And for him to do what he did last night, I think it justifies that a little bit. Can he win the final? It's more of a challenge from box 4. We'll go through some of these heats, but I'm just so rapt at seeing a greyhound lose so much time of racing, watch his sister win an Australian Cup, where he's clearly faster than her, and do what he did last night was incredible.
And his run home time of 10.23, for those out there who aren't familiar with those numbers, astronomical. You can see all those at grv.org.au/race data.
Is that the fastest of the year, Jace, that run home?
I don't have record keeping like that.
Close, wouldn't it?
He'd be up there.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get to a man who would be very happy. He's picked up the extra shift today at Healesville. The Pies got the chocolates last night, and I'm sure his tennis game is absolutely on point. I speak of James Vandermart. Here he is for race 6 at Healesville.
When he gets it right, he's not the quickest of beginners, but he does pack a punch through the last couple of 100 metres. They're about to load now. Starting signal is blinking. So the favourites out in box 8. There's money for the 1, the 2 and the 6 with the late scratching of the 7. All in now. They're set to run for race 6 at Healesville. Off and racing now and away very quickly. Down South Girl, down low, and Cash Now began very cleanly, and he's going to hustle through and lead. Well, he's going to take catching, isn't he? Close up Whisper Pie, Little Miss Envy. A roundabout's going absolutely nowhere with Chochi Akamichi. Down South Girl drops away, but it is all Cash Now, just charges away. And he goes 19.23. That is the run of his career. Cash Now won it by about 9. Beat Little Miss Envy, Whisper Pie, then a roundabout. They broke away then from the rest. Well back to Chochi Akamichi. It was back toward the tail with Braemar Sheila, and Down South Girl, maybe it gone amiss, came in a distant tail ender, but that is a one-act affair. 19.22 for Cash Now. He has just ran the race of his life. Cash Now, he shaves about 2 lengths off his PB, and he runs them into the deck. Number 1, huge performance, Maria Barber for the J&J Syndicate. And if he starts running like that on the regular and beginning like that, he will be a free-for-aller based on that performance. Home in 12.64. Hadn't raced since the 16th of April, but with the aid of the red, a clean getaway. As good as we've seen Cash Now begin, really. It was all over Red Rover from there. Number 1, won the red first. El Grand Senor Spare Cash.
And they've come through, James. Thank you. And we've just got a quick commitment ahead of the first at Geelong before back to the grey areas with George and Jason. Healesville, 1648, they're in. Number 1, Cash Now, $2.70 and $1.60. 6, Little Miss Envy at $2.60. 4, Whisper Pie at $1.50. And 8, Arrant About. The Quinella paid $11, Exacta $21, the Trifecta $188, and the first 4, 1, 6, 4 and 8 not there yet. The running double, 6 and 1 paid $53. Late scratching was the 7, the sub was number 1, Cash Now it was the winner, and the first 4 is there now. Race 6 at Healesville, 1648. And it's paid $269. The first this afternoon with Adam Olzanski at Geelong is not too far away. It's due at 12.25. And with Bet365, your favourite at the moment is at $1.65. Number 2, Electric Elvis. Jordan Childs is on board for Graham Begg. And earlier this morning when he was speaking to Michael Felgate, here are the thoughts of Mark Hunter, Race 1 Geelong.
Elvis is short. Should win. It was well fancied before its debut off the back of good trials. Didn't fire there. Came back from the spell and Ran well first up. You would think the extra distance is perfect. It should go forward, sit somewhere near the front, and should be getting the job done. Placings to come from, for number 1, Ask Your Mother, wasn't a hopeless trialer for Greg Urell. Good gait, has got early speed to be there. 3M60 ran well first up, will be fitter. And 10 Ebony Fighter, who didn't have much luck there, that's 7th. It should have finished a lot closer. So 2 to 1 to beat from 1, 3 and 10.
2, 3, 1 and 10. Righto, Phyllis, the grey areas.
All right, wrapping up what was a great night last night, George. We'll go through heat by heat in review. Sapphire Crown, Heat 1, and Born Model won this from Dr. Zika, and it was just messy as. I mean, they were 4 wide down the back straight turning for home. It was helter-skelter, but in the end, it was the 2 outsiders who've gone 1-2 and through to the final.
Yeah, it was a little bit messy, and you're right, a rough result. That first 4 paid okay, and so did the trifecta, Jay. So well done to David Peckham getting Born Model through and drawn well in the final.
Heat 2 was just as busy, and again, the 2 outsiders have gone 1-2 in Poor Octavia and Tully Luna, and again, this was just so open when they were turning for home. Amani was leading. Bebop Jazz was out of the race after Amani got in her way early, but just busy contest.
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. I thought Bebop Jazz out of the boxes began okay, Jason.
Well, she's going to have Shani's Secret move down to the rail, which was going to help her.
Yeah.
But then Amani got out and hit her, so it's Bebop Jazz's fault that she didn't begin as well as what she needed.
And that's why I was tipping Aston Gozo in the race, because Amani did use a bit of the track, but Poor Octavia, too good. There's always a poor dog in one of these finals, mate, so it wasn't too much of a surprise, I suppose.
And then we got some sort of normality with Gambella winning Heat 3 of the Sapphire Crown. And speaking of Mapunga Rewards run home time earlier of 10:23, which is just unbelievable. Gambella went home in 10:28. So look, I'm always willing to take her on, but I'm starting to learn that is a mistake, George, because 50 metres into the race, she always finds herself in hairy positions.
Yeah.
But class comes to the fore, doesn't it? Because more often than not, she handles it really well.
When you've seen that black rug loom down the back, it was over.
Lights out.
It was absolutely over. And she did what she needed to do. Terrific run. We'll go through the box draw, but again, it's going to have to come from a sticky situation. But as you said, she's more than classy enough to do that.
Final heat of the Sapphire Crown, and this was the heavyweight contest of the evening. Dashing Slay and Lakeview Emily Lakeview Emily's a superstar and has been for a period of time. And Dashing Slay's coming through the ranks, and she resold Lakeview Emily fair and square. She was very good.
We had a good night on the punt, Jace, with tipping. I think we got 3 out of 4, but we put our hand up when we get it wrong. I got this one wrong. I really thought Lakeview Emily had enough still, the experience and drawing box 1 in the tank to win this race. And Dashing Slay had to do something pretty special early, and she did. She ran 4.98, Jace, and then flew down the back. Has she taken the crown off her? If she had, look, winning the launching pad, Jace, is it's no mean feat. But you're racing against dogs who essentially have had 1 to 6 wins. And it was a good field. Wyong Dallas was in it, who we'll speak about. But this is a step up. She's taking on the Queen, who essentially has raced against the boys in the best races, the Phoenix, the Sandgroper. You know, she's been incredible. And she just beat her hands down. I mean, so legitimately now, I think people might have called this earlier than I am, but legitimately now, any series she's in, she's capable of winning. She could be a dog that wins $1.5 million. I mean, she's that special after what you've seen last night. In 29 seconds flat, she's got a run home, Jace. Well, I mean, there's not many weaknesses, is there?
The complete package at this point in time. I mean, she does want to shift off the track slightly, but it hasn't proved to be an issue for her yet. She comes up with box 3 in the final. Gambella's drawn 6, Lakeview Emily's drawn 8. So Dashing Slay, probably the winner of that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think the box draw certainly gives her a really big chance. Not that there's no speed sort of drawn underneath her, but the way she's going. And the thing with Kayla Cottrell, I think you've seen with her greyhounds and probably her family history and that background, I think they're good at making sure that greyhounds do the right thing out of the boxes, and that means so much. And I don't want to jinx that but she's had greyhounds in the past that have done the right things on grand final night, and if she can do that again, Jace, even with the speed in 4 with Trufusis next to her, if she can just sort of navigate that first corner, very hard to beat.
And adding further weight to that heat as well with Dashing Slay and Lakeview Emily, they were the 2 fastest greyhounds of the whole night to the back split. So epic contest that was. Then the boys stepped out in the heats of the Harrison Dawson, and this first one was sort of just as messy as what the other two Sapphire Crown heats were earlier on in the night. I mean, Wyong Dallas, I tipped him, but I thought he'd step straight to the front. He was on the back foot, and luckily for him, he went straight to the rail. We knew Warm Cockles naturally leaves room on the fence, and that in the end is what won Wyong Dallas the race.
Yeah, it was a messy race. It certainly was. But Wyong Dallas just showed that he's got another string to his bow. Forget the time, Jace, because like you said, it was messy. He can go 29.2, this greyhound. Can he get clear on the first corner next week? That's the challenge because he's drawn out wide.
And you own the runner-up there in Van Wyck, who's now a Group 1 finalist, and a text message did come in from ending in 778. Hey, boys, Van Wyck, massive run last night. Big chance next week off the cherry.
Well, this guy hasn't put his name on it. I hope you are right, whoever you are, but I doubt it, Jace. I mean, he's a talented dog of ours, but he's a 29.3 dog, and unfortunately, he's probably got 6 dogs against him who are 29.0s, 29.10 dogs.
With more pace.
Yeah, that's right. So box 1 gives him an opportunity to perhaps fill a hole, but he can't beat these dogs.
Harrison Dawson, Heat 2, won by Morton. And this was a pretty good tussle between him and Field Day and Vincent Bale. You throw him in there, he just got too far back. And it's so hard to make grounds on fast greyhounds up front. And they are, Morton and Field Day, they're both through.
Especially when you're drawn off the track. So again, that was problematic for him. Morton was very, very good. I mean, his run was fantastic. I like the run of Field Day as well. Take nothing away from both of them. Running around the 29.3s, which we know they're capable of. But again, the challenge comes this week with some tricky box draws for the both of them, I'd suggest.
Heat 3 was won by Deadly Avenger. Tim Zhu ran second. He runs 29.19, which is fast as we know, and he is the runner-up. But for Deadly Avenger, I said on air yesterday, I don't think he's getting faster. I think he's improving, but I don't think he's getting faster. He's always been that. It's just standing up consistently in good races. It is not an easy thing to do to transition ability to big race performances, but he's doing that.
I think the writing was on the wall all the way back to when he was in the hands of Tommy Savalas in Queensland for some of those big races. He was pinging the lids and running really fast time, but he's now an all-round type of greyhound. I mean, he had Tim Zhu on his hammer pretty much the whole way, and I just love the way he handled it, Jace. He's just a pure pro, this greyhound. And again, he's got box 6 in the final. That can be tricky because you can't make a mistake against these dogs, but it's going to take a brave person to tip against him the way he's racing at the moment. He's just been incredible.
And then in the final heat, Mapunga Award defeated Flying Zulu, and we've gloated in the efforts of Mapunga Award, and also Jeff and Angelo have got him to this point of his career after a pretty serious injury going back over 12 months now. And the box draw for the final next week, as you said, Deadly Avengers drawn 4, Mapunga Award 7, Flying Zulu. Mapunga Award 4, Flying Zulu 7, Wyong Dallas 8, and then Tim Zhu in box number 2. And I think we're both on the same page here, George, that Tim Zhu has come up trumps with this draw.
Yeah, he has. Look, my bloke can run 5.06, 5.07, Jason, and Tim Zhu last night went 5.10. So, but then when they turn, Tim Zhu will just be clearly a faster greyhound. I'm just talking about the early battle here. I don't think my bloke can win. So then where is Deadly Avenger on that corner, and what does Wyong Dallas do to that first corner as well? Because at his best, he's a low 5 seconds type of greyhound as well. So that's the thing for me. For me, it's between Tim Zhu and Deadly Avenger. I'm not sure what you're thinking. I think Mapunga Reward, if you watch that head on, Jace, absolutely revelled in box 8, stayed where he wanted to be, was able to show that acceleration. Now he's got some of the best greyhounds coming across in front of him, and then he has to navigate a way through that passage.
Yep, I didn't have Mapunga Award going 5.11 to the first split last night. He did. He had the room to, but you're right. He's unlikely to get that next week. And before we wrap up last night's Sandown meeting and head to the first race at Geelong, race 10 was a stays race. It was won by Allah's Babe, and I don't think there's a lot to learn out of this race, George. I mean, Lanfranco was up to some ordinary tricks in the home straight. We won't see him next week, and Allah's Babe won the race, and I mean, she just ran a race. I mean, there's nothing to take from it, really, going to the next week.
No, I mean, she went 6.43 early, which isn't great, but I mean, to still break 42 shows her staying prowess. We mention this about Lanfranco all the time. He's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde greyhound, and I think Jamie and Brooke understand that, but they've claimed a Group 1 with him, so it's disappointing what he did, but that's racing.
All right, race 1 at Geelong there at the barriers. Short price favourite is the 2 Electric Elvis for Graham Begg at $1.60. Let's get on track with Adam O.
Ebony Fighter, who was quite good last time. She's the filly of the race. Ebony Fighter moves in. And here is First Infantry, one of two newcomers. And the Ladbrokes Owners Bonus Maiden will be underway very shortly. The last one about to be loaded. Reese McLeod bringing up First Infantry. Light flashing on the gates. The starter is ready. Electric Elvis, odds on favourite. And they're off. Beautiful line away. Ask Your Mother didn't have early speed, and First Infantry goes back. Electric Elvis jumped third. The Grey Silver Snow came out quickly from Ebony Fighter, the filly of the field, second. Electric Elvis easing out that three wide line, now slotting in one off the fence. Zamperini Spirit is fourth on the rails. M60 is midfield. Ask Your Mother is next, and then comes Left Hook and 2 lengths away to First Infantry. Towards the top of the track they go, 700 metres to travel, and Silver Snow is taking them off the back by 1 length on Ebony Fighter, and then Zamperini Spirit third. Next Electric Elvis fourth and poised, 2 lengths M60 Ask Your Mother. Left Hook now eases out 3 wide, starts to make a move. First Infantry's detached 2 lengths away, 600 to go. Silver Snow towards the bend, only a 3/4 length leader now, and Ebony Fighter, Electric Elvis flushed out when Left Hook made a run. It's out 4 wide coming into the race with the favourite, and then came Zamperini Spirit travelling well, but no run on the fence from M60 and Ask Your Mother hard ridden. Silver Snow came into the straight, had a little bit of a kick from Ebony Fighter. Now Electric Elvis called upon. M60 is next. Left Hook couldn't go with them as they draw down to the 150. And it's Ebony Fighter now storming up to the lead. Ebony Fighter, Electric Elvis coming after it though, stride by stride. But Ebony Fighter, the filly, will win. Ebony Fighter by a neck on Electric Elvis, and M60's run third. And then came Zamperini Spirit, Ask Your Mother, Silver Snow. And the last couple in, First Infantry. And back with it was Left Hook, who dropped out soon after straightening. Ebony Fighter good in its return, and today able to take up a much closer position in the run, and under Will Price sat outside the leader, took the front on straightening it to hold off Electric Elvis, who was slowly peppering away, and then M60 off their backs was joining in at the end a bit. Ebony Fighter has been able to score. Well done to Mick Shepherdson and Will Price with the filly by Brutal. She drew a wide gate last time. She went back from that barrier over a slightly shorter trip, and even though she only beat 1 or 2 horses home, her work late was quite good in strong late sectionals. And she wasn't beaten that far, but a different play today from a much more favourable drawer. And she's landed the win at $12. 10 first, 2 Electric Elvis second, another second, and the 3 M60 has run third ahead of the 8 Silver Snow, who led them to the 200 metres. Interims 10, 2, 3 and 8. The run a time of 1 minute 19.5.
10, 2, 3 and 8, and Ebony Fighter at a bit of value, $14.90 and $2.70. Kicks off the afternoon of 8 races at Geelong with Will Price on board. Number 2, Electric Elvis, the favourite, second at $1.10. 3, M60 at $3. 8, Silver Snow into third. Quinella, $8.40. The exact at $25. Mark Hunter's trifecta race 1, $335. Thank you, Mark. And the first 4, 10, 2, 3 and 8. has paid $1,328. Healesville, the guys will go back to grey areas, but race 7 is next there. James Vandermart's gone the White Dog, 3, 1, 2 and 6. Jason.
And it's an extension to what we saw last night at Sandown. Of course, those 2 Group 1 finals are next Thursday night, which will be complemented by heats of the Sandown Cup. And we saw a gun from New South Wales trial last night after race 1. That is Lady Wilson getting ready for the Sandown Cup heats next week. She ran around over the 595 metres and went 33.92, which is moving. She's cherry ripe for next week.
Yeah, she's a track record holder. I think originally from a dam line from Victoria, and she's quite a special greyhound. Kudos to them to giving her a look at Sandown. It's going to be a nice little series next week, even if Lanfranco is not there.
Moving our attention to the Meadows tomorrow night, the next Metropolitan meeting here in Victoria. A couple of points of interest from my point of view, at least, George, selfishly. Race 1, number 1, Zap de Veer. Keen to see what he's going to do. And then the free-for-all, which features some big names as well.
Yeah, He's one of my tips, Jace Zaptavia, because I think he's one of those greyhounds that's still learning his craft, and when he has drawn closer to the fence, he's absolutely shown his best. I'm not sure what odds we're going to get, Jace, but surely just throw him in for some mayonnaise into some multis, especially if you like a couple of footy teams, but he should just be winning that race 1, number 1. I do like race 6, number 2, a greyhound called He's Magic, who's with Kayla Cottrell, whose win at Sandown last start was really good, 34.04, Jason, but what I like is 9.12 early. That's moving for a first split. It's certainly going to put him into a good enough position. Terrific record from inside draws, and I think he'll be hard to beat, race 6, number 2. And I do like race 9, number 2, Elite Intention.
Good dog.
For Tom O'Neill. Last couple of runs at the Meadows, been beaten by 2 pretty good ones. His runs at Sandown before that were impressive. Again, should showcase his early speed from a favourable draw and be hard to beat. So we're really keen on tomorrow's meeting. Look, I'm not sure what odds we're going to get on. I don't think they're out yet, but we're going to do some multis with them around some of our obscure bets on the AFL.
And that free-for-all I spoke about features Buddy Manali, Zipping Hopkins, Hector Fawley, Zipping Grillis. So that's going to be a belter, which is race 8 at the Meadows tomorrow night.
It's going to be really interesting because there's speed drawn around Hector Fawley, isn't there? And his early splits have been around the 5.15, 5.20 mark. So where he sits early, Jason, I don't think there's any doubt after last week's run that he's, the back end of his races are as good as what he's been. I mean, that he's still run second behind a greyhound who ran 29.50 odd at the Meadows. So he's still going good enough, just needs to navigate around that first corner.
The Coalition stitches up in last week's obscure outlay, George, with seats at the line. What have you got for us this week?
I've got 3 AFL teams that I think will win that we can multi up. I think Carlton will beat St Kilda tonight. I think I was speaking to the Hornet outside, Matty Nevitt, who said I'm getting too big of a head as a Hawthorn supporter, but I think we'll beat Melbourne. I think we've got a little bit too much firepower for them. And I think Richmond will beat West Coast at the MCG on Sunday. So that bet comes to about $3.15. So that's where we're keen to play.
I introduced a new segment last week, which I took great enjoyment out of, the Ferrugia Files. George's dogs going around there. I tell you what, there's stuff all over the next few days. We've got to go to Monday. You've got 3 at Ballarat. Race 2, number 1, Articulate.
She's the one greyhound that I own that always draws box 1, but she's not much chop, unfortunately. Look, she'll probably run a place.
Ballarat race 3, number 6, $6 short.
Place at best. Yeah.
Ballarat Monday, race 9, number 6, never mind.
Each way, Emma Palmer trains her, and she's done a terrific job with this greyhound. He's got a little bit of early speed, so hopefully with a bit of value.
And hey, we move our attention to the Sunshine State. Now, you've got a first starter with the Prince and the most powerful trainer in Queensland at the moment in Tom Zavalis. Q2 Parklands, race 1, number 1, Tempting Dash.
Got ability, but he told me she just is smashing in the boxes, too overly keen, so we'll miss the start.
Really?
That's all I can give you, but she can run a bit.
Did you say one of George's dogs was number 9 in that third one on Monday?
No.
No, race 9, number 6.
Sorry, mate. Go ahead.
No, all good.
All good. All right, that's for a boring edition of the Ferrugia Files for today.
Yeah, we'll get better. Sorry about that.
All right, some text messages that we need to catch up on. One from Spider about last night's game. Morning, gents. 5 minutes into the game last night, and one of the highly paid commentators said that Collingwood have come with a bad attitude. Spare me, please. Yes, didn't that play out the right way for you, Spider?
Thank you.
We've got one from Ash. Did you see the new Pope used to train greyhounds before he went into priesthood? Check out Wikipedia. That's from Ash. Now, I did get wind of this morning. There's a part in Wikipedia that says before entering the seminary, he cultivated a long-standing passion for amateur greyhound racing, how do you say that word? Distinguishing himself with excellent results in the field.
He's got some pull now. Maybe we can build a track around the Vatican.
Leo
Unreal.
the 14th.
Imagine that drinks package.
All right, that's a wrap for Grey Areas. George, thank you. John, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great weekend. This is race 7 at Hillsville with James.
Last look in.